Hey, Brodie, really nice to meet you. Thanks for taking some time to share your story with us today. By profession, you are a criminal defense attorney. And
Correct.
I'm wondering how often friends, family member, guy at the supermarket just needs a little piece of advice. Just a, hey, quick, you get that all the time?
Every once in a while, I have a friends and family discount that I apply to people
Do
close to me in
you?
my life, just in case. It's come up a couple of times over the years. But yeah, it's one of those professions where it's weird to advertise because no one ever thinks they're going to need you until they do.
Yeah.
So it's always good to know somebody and have a business card in your wallet of someone who can help you if you get pulled over or something like that. But yeah, I hope not to ever have to help too many people that are close to me. But it does come up for sure.
Yeah, no, I would guess you have some stories to tell too. You could be an interesting to have over at the old dinner party.
And most of it's public information, so like a lot of attorneys, I can kind of tell my stories for the most part. So
There you go.
yeah.
Well, you have a really interesting connection with Profile in that you're almost a year in.
Yeah.
You started in May 2021, and you put your weight in your bio. Not everybody does that. Some people put in weight loss, but you said when you started, you were 417 pounds.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that that's the highest I was at any
Oh,
point
really?
either, but it would have been in the ballpark of that range. So yeah.
Are you just totally comfortable with the number? You have no problem telling
It
people?
it was what it was. You can hide things, and I did for a long time. I was in denial a long time about my weight, and I could make excuses about it and things like that. And it just got to a point where, that was just silly. I wasn't doing myself any good, and it was embarrassing, even without anybody knowing the number, how I felt and looked and things like that. So yeah, the number is in my past now, so it doesn't hurt quite as bad anymore. But no, I think it's important to be able to kind of tell the whole story and show where my journey started from, to have, for me too, to have an appreciation of where I've gotten to.
Yeah, no, that sounds totally healthy. You had said that some of your weight issues went all the way back to college. So this is not something that just crept up on you in a year or two. It's been part of your life.
No, no, and I mean, I had unhealthy habits even in high school. I was a two-sport athlete. I played baseball and football, and I would play football at a higher weight because I played offensive line. But then in baseball,
Mhm.
I would cut weight, and you get bad habits. And when you work out 4 hours a day, 6 days a week for 4 years, you can kind of get away with it. But then I stopped playing sports and didn't change my lifestyle, my eating habits, things like that, and it just kind of snowballed eventually. Yeah.
So you had an informational meeting at the Profile location in Woodbury, which is an eastern suburb of Minneapolis and St. Paul.
Yeah.
You said the program seemed like a good fit for you, and so you went ahead and you jumped in and you followed the program religiously at the start. Just like
Yeah.
you must have been really ready to do this.
I was, and it was just what helped me with Profile was there is a rigidity to it. It's really laid out. It's really planned out. There's not a lot of decision making, especially early on in the plan, which was really good for me. It's not like I hadn't tried to lose weight before. I just hadn't been able to do it successfully, partly because the bad mindset that I had that got me to my weight issues in the first place didn't go away just magically because I decided I wanted to lose weight. So jumping in with Profile, the reason I chose Profile was that it just seemed like my whole day was going to be planned out from a food standpoint, with the Profile food, and then the grocery list that we got to,
Yep.
to help with lunch and dinner. It really just took a lot of the thinking out of it for me, and that really was what I needed. I just needed to be able to follow a plan and stick to it, and that's what worked ultimately for me.
You needed the structure. You
Yeah,
needed someone to lay it out for you.
absolutely.
So, by following the plan the way you did, you had said in the first 7 months ish,
Yeah,
you were down about 150 pounds.
yeah.
I mean, that's incredible.
I,
It was a
I
drip
know.
off you?
Yeah, it was fast and furious. The first, 3-4 months, I was losing 7-8 pounds a week consistently. Just, not doing anything special. I wasn't working out at all. I mean, other than, as I got lighter, my activity level increased because I was able to move around a little bit more and play with the kids and do stuff like that. But um, yeah, my goal initially when we started was to hit 100 pounds by Christmas of this last year, which would have been, roughly 6, 7 months into the program, and I hit the 100 pound mark just before Labor Day. So
Oh
I was like
gosh.
3 months ahead of schedule, and yeah, and didn't really slow down. And then I got to around Thanksgiving, early part of December, and that's when I noticed the slowdown kind of start, because I mean I was down 150 pounds. There was less to lose at that point,
Right.
but it's been consistent even since then. Even in the adapt phase, where my calories went up and my activity levels gone up quite a bit, I've been able to work out more, and I still haven't had a week where I haven't lost something. Whether it's a half pound or a pound, it's always been less than the week before. So that kind of keeps me going, that motivating factor.
There's just such reinforcement too
Yeah,
when you see that what you are doing is working, whether you see it on the
sure.
scale or you see it in the way your clothes fit or the way that you feel. It makes you want to keep going because you see it.
Yeah,
And was
absolutely.
that how much did that reinforcement sort of keep you motivated and going?
Oh, it was a huge part of it. When especially early on, I would weigh myself sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, because I just couldn't believe that even within the day I would lose half a pound and things like that. Yeah, and we talk a lot in the program about non-scale victories, and that's what really was starting to drive
Mhm.
me. Seeing my ability to just walk around change, and ride a bike or walk the golf course instead of riding a cart, and the way my swing mechanics changed because my body shape changed so drastically so quickly. um, and so yeah, it's a lot of those things that we worry about the numbers a lot. And part of the reason that I'm okay talking about where I started from is that ultimately that's not the important thing. It's how I felt. It's how my health was. I was starting to get into some danger zones as far as some health, and at 37 years old at the time, that wasn't something I wanted to have to deal with for the next however many years of my life. So all those things have reversed, and it's those things that don't show up when I step on a scale that have really been the driving force for sure.
So what you're talking about, pre-diabetes, high blood pressure,
Yeah,
circulation issues, joint
yeah,
pain, those were
yep,
all things that were in your life, that were a part
yeah,
of your life
yep, absolutely.
and no longer are.
No, I mean, I still am 38, so my back hurts sometimes and things like that. And I've got injuries from when I played sports that crop up, but it's not this habitual thing anymore. It's not this every morning I wake up and just feel sore before the day even starts, or I do any kind of exercise or activity, and I regret it for 2 days after. None of that's there anymore. And yeah, my all those health related things are completely reversed at this point. I
Oh,
got
good.
in early enough on it and was able to avoid having to be on medication, and that was a huge deal for me.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah,
You have 3 kids,
yeah,
10, 7, 4.
yep.
How has your life changed as it pertains to your kids and your kids' activities and your kids' lives?
Oh, a ton. I mean, I people tell me that I seem more outgoing and social now. I suppose because I'm just not quite so self-conscious about how I look and feel, and things like that. I was able to go skating with my kids. I haven't skated in, I don't know, 25 years probably, but I was able to skate on our backyard rink this year with them, and do it without my feet hurting or my ankles hurting, or,
Oh,
or
that's
things like
awesome.
that. Yeah, so they tell me I'm more fun too, so I'll take that. They're too young to lie, so if they're telling you something, they're honest about it. So, but I guess I didn't always realize how distant I'd become and how removed from situations I was, and reticent to put myself out there until I didn't feel that way anymore, and then could see a change in just kind of my general demeanor. And I think
Mhm.
my wife and kids, they definitely see it too, and have told me that it's a lot better hanging out with me now.
So you feel like you have your old life back.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
You feel like you have the old you back.
Yeah, it was a life of restriction that is kind of gone now. I can do whatever I want. I don't have to worry about, if I'm going to be uncomfortable, or if, I'm going to fit in the chair at the amusement park or whatever the
Mhm.
situation is, and things like that. So there's just a lot of anxiety that I didn't even really know I had until it wasn't there anymore, that I'm
Yeah,
not living with
yeah.
anymore.
And even in your profession as a criminal defense attorney, I picture a full suit. Not sure
Yeah.
if you have to wear one that often, but how has just like your professional wardrobe and demeanor and being in front of your colleagues, how's that changed?
Yeah, I don't go in court as much anymore because COVID kind of changed the way we do everything. So most of my Zoom hearings are right here in my office basement. But yeah, I had to buy all new clothes. I mean, I had 4 or 5 suits before. I'm down to 2 right now, but that's mostly just because I don't want to spend a lot of money on suits and then have to take them to Goodwill in 6 months because they don't fit anymore. So yeah, I had a trial a few months ago, and it was much more comfortable standing up in front of people and knowing that they're not focusing on my appearance or my unhealthy appearance and things like that. So it just takes a variable out of the equation for these kinds of things, and that confidence that comes with it, I think, has to show.
Your your total weight loss, is it at 150 now or is it more than that?
No, it's 175 or so right now is where we're at. And I've
170.
got and
Wow.
I've got about 20 more to hit my 20 to 25 more to hit kind of what my goal is right
Okay.
now. Not sure if that's the number is going to the number I'm looking for is 217 because it would be around 200.
Yep.
I don't know if that's reasonable at this point. It's been, 20 years since I've weighed that much, probably a couple of years more than that. So,
Really?
yeah, so it may not be, and again, ultimately for me, the number that at the end of the day is not the important thing. But like I said, it
Yeah.
would be cool to be able to hit that 200 number. I think that would just be a nice thing to be able to say, as opposed to having to come up with whatever the specific number is. Just say, oh, about 200. That would be nice. So,
Well,
um,
even at 175, you've
I
already
know,
lost an adult. You've
I
lost
know.
an adult human.
I've lost my wife and 2 of my kids at this point, so I've it feels good, and yeah, it's one of those things where if I lost no more weight for the rest of the time, I'm cool with what I've been able to accomplish here. I know that I've completely turned around my health and the longevity that I'm going to have, and know that I'm going to be able to be there for my kids going forward, and my wife, and not leave her with 3 kids because I couldn't control my health situation. So it was time for me to take control of that and do what was in my power to make it better. And I'm still thankful that Profile was able to help.
And what do you do when you're in this phase of it's not just flying off you anymore? The weight loss has slowed and you're in, I know you said you wanted to go a little bit farther, but
Hmm.
you're closer to an adapt phase,
Yeah.
which I would assume you'll be in for maybe the rest of your life, some
Yeah.
version of it. How do you know you can stay there? Like, what are the skills and the mindset that you now have that you are not going back?
I think that's what to me made a lot of sense about the way Profile worked, is that it's not just we're going to cut your calories way down low until you hit a number and then release you back into the wild. It is a phases program. So there's the reduced phase initially, which is what I was in until Thanksgiving or so, where you are just focusing on cutting as much weight as you possibly can. It's very low carb, it's very low
Mhm.
calorie. And then you
Yes.
get into adapt, where you start to slowly add things back and become more of a normal adult when it comes to eating. I don't have to worry about, oh, am I going to go to a party and they're going to have bread there? What am I going to do if the only thing they have is sandwiches? In July of this year, that would have been anxiety driving for me, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to eat it. I didn't want to have to explain to people why. But as you go through the program, they do a good job of putting things back in and making your diet more what people would consider just to be a regular
Mhm.
diet. So you slowly get back into doing things. I've learned so many skills as far as food prep, how to create lower calorie options, just removing things like cooking
Yeah.
oil, or does it need that extra thing of cheese, or things like that. We all love cheese, but not every salad has to have a half ounce of cheddar cheese in it. It's just, you can make decisions like that. And I think that it's taught me a lot too about um, kind of taking a holistic view of the way I eat. Instead of worrying about every single meal and how many calories is this, I look at it now, especially on a more week to week basis. So if I know I'm going out to dinner with my wife one night and I'm going to have a larger meal than I would normally, I can factor that into the next day or the day
Mhm.
before, and really look at it from a more complete perspective,
Sure. You're zooming out a
which
little bit.
yeah, exactly. And that zoom out really is what I think is going to be helpful going forward, because it's going to allow me to understand kind of the mechanics of it, as opposed to just the end result. And if to steal from the 76ers, if you just trust the process, sometimes that's what's going to work. If you worry too much about where you're going and not how you're going to get there, you kind of lose sight of what's important.
Well, the process seems to be working all right
For
in
sure.
Philly, and it's working really well for you, Brodie, because I feel like your approach and your mindset is so casual, but not in a I don't care way. It's casual in a I'm so confident that I have this that look at me. I'm just sitting here in my nice shirt and my quarter zip doing this interview because
Right.
I don't have a care in the world because I got this stuff figured out under control and a good plan to stay there.
Yeah,
That's
and
the vibe I'm getting.
I mean, profile is, I mean, a huge reason for it. You know, I have to take and understand the work and effort that I had to put into this myself, and that, you know, I don't discount my mindset in this, but having weekly meetings was very helpful. You know, I'm born and raised Minnesotan. I often tell the coaches, like, my Minnesota passive aggressive doesn't let me slip up. Like, I don't want to go in on a Friday and have to explain why I gained 2 pounds. So, um, you know, it kind of keeps me focused. Like, I'm remembering I'm going to step on the scale Friday. I'm going to go talk to, you know, Deb or Kim about this. And if I have a problem, I'm going to have to tell about why. And it's going to be something that was totally within my control usually. And that's where I've been successful, I think, is just realizing I can control the things that I can control, which is, you know, how much I exercise, how much I eat, and how closely I follow the plan. And I've got nobody to blame at this point. I've got the tools. If it doesn't work, it's on me. And, you know, I just kind of dedicated myself to making
Mhm.
sure it did work.
Yeah, and when it does work, it's on you as well. So I hope you've also taken the
Yeah,
time to feel really proud of yourself
I
and
do. I do.
pat
Yeah.
yourself on the back because you can
Yes.
probably do that now. 'Cause
I can. Yeah. See,
there
no
you
problem.
go. Hey, Brodie, congratulations.
Thank you.
That is one heck of an accomplishment. And
Absolutely. Thank you
I
very
have no
much.
doubt that you're just gonna keep on going. Maybe check back in with us when you hit that
Yeah, for sure.
ultimate 200 down.
For sure.
All right, Brodie.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Take
Thanks,
care of
Marney.
yourself.
Absolutely.
That's Brodie Hacken from White Bear Lake, Minnesota, down 175 and counting and living a good life. This has been Profiles in Health and Wellness. I'm your host, Marney Gellner. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.